Hey guys, welcome back. Bryan, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up, dude?
Oh, not a lot. Doing the same old, same old. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That was a good episode last time. It's got some good traction. That seven principles of psychonaut.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think if anybody that's like starting to get into psychedelics or anything like that, it's 100% worth a listen.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Kind of get your bearings of where to go. So yeah, it got a lot of good traction on YouTube, Spotify, a lot of other places. Just kind of popped up real fast. I was surprised me how quick it
Hmm.
went because that was kind of our first episode where it's more just us talking with someone rather than interviewing them.
Yeah.
So yeah, tonight we've got our interview with Tom Feegel. He's the co-founder of the Beond Ibogaine clinic in Mexico.
Right.
Yeah, he it's kind of a resort slash rehab center where, I mean, he's not only like kind of the hair club for men. He's not just a
Mhm.
client. He owns the place. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very interesting stuff. I'm excited to get this interview up there for everybody.
yeah, it was really good. He was just a really interesting guy. On top of everything, I think
Hmm.
that's my favorite part about doing this podcast so far is just the interesting people get to kind of chat with and talk with, and just kind of blows me away. And
Oh, for sure.
yeah, I love it. But yeah, so we're gonna sit back. We'll take a listen to some music and come back, and you'll hear our interview with Tom.
Produces this sound. Tropical portion of Mexico, a large green frog planted named Agalatenus dactycolor, also to its mating called tree or shrub. Extremely abundant frog along river bottoms or lakes in southern Sonora, Mexico, southward of Central America, is called Leptodactylus melanotus, or simply a ranita by Mexicans. At close range, its voice sounds like this. Telling to a cabin. Carpenter frog ran a regatta feed. Its inhabitants spiked their claws along
All right, everybody. So welcome back. Today we're with Tom Feegel from Beond. He's the CEO and co-founder, based out of Cancun, Mexico. Tom, could you share a little bit of your personal journey and led to the founding of Beond and your interest in the Ibogaine therapy?
Well, thank you very much for having me, for inviting Beyond to be on with you and to share this. It's exciting times in this sector, and we're delighted to be a part of this conversation with you. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. We really love having you on here. It's great to anytime we can talk to different people that, to kind of bring light on these new and interesting therapies, kind of help people out everywhere. So yeah.
Especially,
Yeah,
focused around addiction and everything. So that's great.
yeah, yeah. I mean, gosh, where do I start? I mean, the basics are that a family member of mine was prescribed Vicodin when they were in their late teens, early 20s for dental procedure. And, and like many people, felt like uh, that medicine did more than took the pain away. They said it made them feel normal for the first time. Anxiety, depression, they could work on it. But that dependency progressed. And then eventually they couldn't get off it. They couldn't get enough of it. They couldn't get off it. Then they couldn't get it at all. And this pattern, is pretty well known these days with, pill mills and all those stories of people overprescribing substances that, led to the downfall of companies like Purdue Pharma and others. You know, it's no secret that how many people ended up in that situation. They went to 9 different rehabs in the United States, all the expensive ones, and tried to get off and would follow direction, would stay there 30, 60, 90 days, and do it what they were told, and would get out and once again would want to feel normal, something we all seek, of course. And eventually a friend said, hey, if you really want to stop living like this, you need to go to Mexico and try Ibogaine. This was over 16 years ago, though. So if you think that this is what we're doing here at Beond in Cancun now is pioneering, 16 years ago is a totally different world. They went to Mexico, and the place they went had no infrastructure, no clinical infrastructure whatsoever. It was just somebody's house with a mattress and some Ibogaine. And it was a very scary experience on every level. Going to a foreign country, not really understanding how to feel prepared, not having any coaching or psychological support, to feel ready, and then the environment itself was woefully inadequate. But the medicine worked. The Ibogaine actually helped them not only get off the opioid, but most importantly, gave them a sense of this profound insight into sort of the purpose of their life, the sense that they were here for a reason. You have to remember, many people who are in chemical dependency lose all sense of a purpose in life other than, avoiding being caught using, feeling like they're inadequate and want to get off it, but can't. It's a very, very stressful and dominating mindset, and it's super uncomfortable. I myself have been in recovery and sober for 21 years. And
Congratulations, by the way. That's awesome.
Yeah, quite an accomplishment.
Thank you. Yeah, if you had met me, early October 2003, you would have been getting a different guy. I actually could not have been on a podcast by any means. But in any event, that mindset of unworthiness, of a sense of self-betrayal, of a consistent sense of self-abandonment, this unlovability, may be a precursor for that results from trauma, or a precursor for chemical dependency. But it is definitely a continuous experience while you're in the throes of chemical dependency. You can't be present in the way that you want to. You feel this, we felt this tremendous guilt, this sense of like, I'm not here, and I can't wait to go get what I think I need, for example. Anyway, they went to Mexico, they did Ibogaine. Of course, they had this life review, this sense that like, my life matters. I'm here for a purpose, and it's definitely not to take these substances. And by the way, I don't need them or want them anymore. And they started down this path of telling people this story that I just summarized. And people would write and say, or call and say, where can I go? I know somebody that needs that. Where can I go? And their answer always was the same. There is no place that I would recommend. There's a lot of sort of underground, there's some retreats, there's some smaller providers, but for some reason, there was something not quite right with each one. And a few years back, I thought, I wonder if I can build the place they should have gone. What would that need to be for somebody that I love dearly, in terms of the doctors? We started Beond in 2021. We started with one doctor, one nurse, and a few rooms. We now have 10 full-time licensed credentialed doctors. some board certified in intensive care, some board certified in emergency medicine, and they are absolutely dedicated to the use of what they consider this to be a technology, right? They see this as a medicine. I see it as a medicine too. I have great respect for the ceremonial use of Iboga and Ibogaine in certain environments. But that's not the type of team member that's overseeing our clinical operations. These people come out of very sophisticated operating environments where they want to know what the results are going to be from the substance or the procedure that they perform. We have 10 full-time doctors, 23 ICU certified nurses, the 24-hour care. And the reason for that is that's what people need. This is not a retreat where everybody goes to sleep at some point and if you're uncomfortable in the middle of the night or something's not right in the middle of the night, you just wait until morning. You might run into somebody. We're registered as a class 1 medical facility, which in Mexico means we could function as a hospital.
Gotcha.
We have the skills and the orientation of a mental health facility. People come for PTSD or traumatic brain injury, depression, anxiety, and or chemical dependency. We don't focus exclusively on chemical dependency, but that's where we started. And then the environment is like a small resort. So it's like if you took a little bit of a hospital, the right amount, doctors and nurses and equipment and procedures and medication management, great training, great talent, great dedication, and you took a little bit of a mental health treatment facility, the right amount, and a bit of a retreat focused on personal development, focused on facilitating with coaches and our tool. We've developed tools to help people go deeply into their own consciousness, their own vision of their future, how it's going to impact their relationships when they heal. And you put it in a small resort environment. That's what Beond would be. So I'm deeply grateful that I was able to find the right doctors, talk to the right. Obviously, I'm not Mexican. My daughter is. We had a daughter here in Mexico last year.
Congrats on that too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very happy about that. But I moved here because this is not yet legal in the United States. We specialize in Ibogaine. It's a Schedule I substance, and we had to find the right advisors to figure out our safety protocols. We talked to both, PhD level clinical psychologists that had experience in Ibogaine, like Joseph Barsulia, PhD level researchers like Deborah Mash and others, MDs that had experience with Ibogaine, and we carefully architected, the standard operating procedures, the safety protocols, and then we asked people to interrogate them and try to make them better. And starting slowly with, one client. I was the first person to do Ibogaine at Beond, by the way. It was a wonderful experience. But we're now at a point where, the brand has grown, the community around Ibogaine has grown. We're very grateful to be a partner in research, in giving back. We've been an early and large donor to Blessings of the Forest, that a nonprofit that supports regenerative agriculture and community programs in Gabon and that region of the world. But we're now at 25 rooms, just over 75 employees or team members. We did 47 Ibogaine treatments last week.
Wow, that's impressive.
But each of them are hyper personalized. We're not trying to be the McDonald's of psychedelics or Ibogaine. No offense to McDonald's lovers, but we're not Mick Ibogaine. This is when you think about the idea of what we're really trying to do, right?
Mhm.
Someone has found the courage to try a substance that's not even legal yet in the United States, and they're choosing to go to Mexico to do it. They really deserve to be properly educated before they make that decision.
Yeah.
And we made that commitment. We compiled all the available research we could find and put it on our website and said, read this and ask any question you want. It's not only our research, it's all the research. No one should ever have to Google, does Ibogaine work for, and cross their fingers and hope, that we should make that available. They should feel like they're not making a compromise at all. The space, the team, the talent, the vibe, they should get a daily massage. They should also have sound healings and art therapy and music and nature. And why not? They're about to change their life in a deeply meaningful and profound way. Why should you have to feel like, you're compromising? It's not like you won't find golden doorknobs at Beond.
Mhm.
Like that's not useful, but you will find a team that's all done psychedelics. They've even the doctors, every single one of them, even the nurses, every single one of them does psychedelics to understand and empathize the decision-making process and the experience of the guest. Many of us, almost every staff member has done Ibogaine at Beond. So we know what it feels like to be a guest at Beond and to be cared for by our team. And we really have deep respect for the people that come here. We see them as the solution, not the problem. They show up thinking they're the problem in their life, in their family, in their job. Usually, they're so depressed they can't be a good dad, they can't be a good mom, or they're chemically dependent. They're can't function at the level they want to or need to. But they're about to change in a deep and meaningful way. And we should honor that. We should respect them. And this is, I don't know if you know personally, you probably heard, this is not the experience in a conventional drug and alcohol rehab in the United States. Most people, nobody comes out of there and brags, and says, oh my God, I just got back from rehab. You should go. It's awesome. But that's
that was
what
the
they do.
best time ever. Yeah.
That's what they do from Beond. And we love that because they're, we have integrated populations. We have decorated combat veterans with people who are chemically dependent. And they actually, turns out, we've had federal law enforcement here for the PTSD integrated with people who just last week were doing whatever they needed to do to get the thing they thought they needed.
Yeah.
Fentanyl, cocaine, alcohol, something like that. And it's amazing. You see they have more in common than they thought. They're both suffering from usually childhood trauma, not always, but a deep sense of unworthiness.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to pause there.
Yeah,
You guys...
I was gonna say that you kind of brought that up earlier. You're talking about everybody has that sense to kind of want to belong or be part of something, and that's that real driving force behind addiction, but also that shame there that comes from that, from wanting that. From some of us, like we're taught not to want anything for ourselves, so you even get that self shame. Of wanting something. So again, a lot of that trauma, even from that, can come back to haunt you and just put you in that kind of self-defeating cycle of shame pretty constantly.
And it is all too commonly passed on to other generations, right? So just because you mentioned it, we have a practice. So each day at 10 o'clock at Beond, everyone who's a guest and all of the staff, unless you're literally focusing and face-to-face with a client right now, like in treatment, in a Ibogaine treatment, or a medical consultation, everyone is in one room. We all meditate together. And it was just a 10-minute meditation. And it's, but it's a great introduction to meditation that allows people who routinely, they come and they say, I can't meditate. I don't meditate. And we're like, yes, you do. You actually already meditate. You just meditate on a different mantra, which is, I'm a piece of shit. This traffic sucks. My job sucks. I hate my boss, or whatever it might be. I'm stressed out. That is a meditation. But
Yeah.
this gives everyday people an opportunity to experience a totally different way of meditating. And then we do this practice where we share about gratitude. Everyone talks about, if you want, you don't have to. We deeply respect people's autonomy. You don't have to do anything of any of the programming at Beond, except show up in a way where you can be safe and we can keep you safe. And there's some rules around that, of course. Sorry. So at the end of this practice, we do something, you just made me think of it, which is everyone stands there and we practice asking for help. Because it's so many people were taught, including myself as a child, it's a sign of weakness to ask for help. You should give it, but don't ask for it. It's embarrassing. But we literally think of it as a superpower. We call it a superpower, a skill. And it actually can give someone else a sense of purpose, in a deep and meaningful way. You might actually change each other's life if you're willing to be vulnerable and ask for help,
Absolutely.
And so you mentioned that it's that unworthiness, that feeling that we're not even, we don't have the right to get help and we should just figure it out on our own. That is just a very, I think, obsolete concept, and I don't know where it comes from, but it is just
It's
not.
that cycle of that self-destructive shame where you're just like, oh, I don't need anything. Yeah, and I don't know if it's just, I don't know if it comes from just the determinism of that, that you have to do it and get out there and do it all on your own, or just that kind of American determinism or individualism or what. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's there, and I think it's a huge part of what causes a lot of that internalizing that shame of having to ask for help, or needing the help, or
I definitely suffer from that myself.
Yeah, it's like, but you feel good if someone asks you for help. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, sure, man. Or you might even say no, but at least you don't feel like, oh, you're so weak. You're such a loser.
I never
Asking me.
think that. I've never thought that when
No,
somebody's
but
asking for
that's what
help.
we think they're going to think sometimes, right?
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, that sense that, uh, from an early age, we have to apologize for needing help, making a mistake. This is one of the principal lessons that we focus on at Beond is self-forgiveness. Like, I don't know about you two gentlemen, but I've definitely made some mistakes in my life. And they started long ago. They started in the beginning. They started with math problems. They started with, writing on the wall, my parents' house, whatever it might be, right? Like, mistakes are made so that we can learn something. And somehow people came to learn that, like, if you had a report card and your child or someone that you cared about brought it home and they're like, oh, you made a mistake, you would be like, this is an opportunity for growth and learning. Because once you understand this mistake, you're not going to make it again. As opposed to this shame around mental health in general. It's not just chemical dependency, unfortunately. It's depression, it's anxiety, it's brain fog, it's inadequacy of the mental cognitive function. I feel stupid, I must be stupid, or chemical dependency. It's almost like we want people to bring that report card home and stick it under their bed and never tell anyone about it and hope it just gets better on their own. Like,
yeah,
that
that's a
is
good
such a
analogy. Yeah, I like that.
obviously bad idea. Like, you should come home and say, oh my God, I just admitted it. I have a problem. I need your help. We are in this together. I would have solved it if I could have. Or the other good news, I did solve it. Whatever it is. But this shame, I'm so glad you mentioned that. It's so toxic. And it builds right onto that victim mindset of like, somebody caused this choice that I'm making is out of my control. So therefore, instead of just saying like, I need help, oftentimes people stay in that mindset and they go look for someone to blame. Somebody did me wrong, and that's why I can't change. Anyway, I am so proud of the team at Beyond. One of the biggest problems of a business like Beyond or a venture like Beyond is how do you find people that are really good? And because I can find doctors, but nobody would want to sit with them and feel really like they should trust them. If you ever go to the hospital, have you been to the hospital lately? It is a terrible place.
Yeah, I hate the hospital.
I know, John, not just because usually it means something bad, but like it's just the programming, the look, the feel, the vibe,
Mhm.
the energy is so off for healing.
Yeah, and like
Like,
even the staff sometimes are like they don't want to be there, and you can feel
They
that.
clearly they don't want to be there. Their hands are tied. Insurance, they're like
Mhm.
nickel and diming you. They're like $5 for a Q-tip or whatever, and they feel bad about it. They don't want to do that, and so they don't get the money.
Mhm.
Uh, and so it's like this dreary, dispiriting experience. But it's not the fault of the people that work there. They just literally can't change it. And eventually
Right.
they're like, oh, screw it. I'd have to quit my job and find a new one. It'll be the same. So one of the challenges of Beyond, which is super exciting actually, is to go find technically competent doctors and then cause them to understand psychedelics from a personal perspective and want to bring their technical skills into an operating environment like Beyond so that
Mhm.
they stop thinking that like you're a mechanic. I mean, they're a mechanic and you're a machine. If you break your ankle today, God forbid, you go to the hospital, they're going to like x-ray it, give you some pain medication, set the bone, and send you home. Say, come back in 6 weeks, I'll cut the cast off. Very transactional.
Yeah.
They won't ask you why, why do you want to heal? What are you going to do with your ankle? What mountain will you climb? What dance will you learn? What race will you, race or whatever? There's no vision for the healing. It's just kind of like, you're a machine and we're mechanics and we're just going to fix. They use language like that. We're going to fix your ankle. And healing, in our opinion at Beyond, is synonymous with growth,
Hmm.
right? We all are healing all the time. It's not just for sick people, it's for everyone. In medicine, which is kind of it's an important word, I think, because drugs is a bad word and medicine is a decent word.
Mhm.
But I use that with virtual air quotes. That somehow medicine should only be for the sick, as opposed to plant medicine like Ibogaine. It's a hydrochloride from a botanical, but it's still for learning. It's still for growing. Of course, it resets your brain chemistry, but it's also for you to become, be defined by a vision of your future rather than the pain of your past, which is one of the most commonly exhibited symptoms of suffering that we get to encounter here at Beyond is I am the sum total of all my mistakes. I am just a dumpster of painful past memories.
No, I love it. I think it's a great the kind of what along those same lines what you're talking about. I had a broken bone recently, I guess within the past year,
Oh yeah.
and it was yeah, thank you. It wasn't about. That's the one thing that struck me. Kind of what you were saying is they were saying this is what you'll be able to do again. It was
Ah,
never about what would you like to do,
right.
what are your goals for the future. Instead it was just, this is what you will be able to do with that broken bone and how that is now. So
Yeah.
yeah, that I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and it
yeah, healing is for so many people synonymous with this idea of like, you don't heal unless you're sick, as opposed to, well, wait a second. If I cut my hand, it heals how? By growing.
Yeah.
If I have a wound in my heart because I was neglected as a child, or I was abandoned, or I was harmed, and I have this in my mind, it's in it's in my mind. Then I need to heal through by growing and replacing it with something better. Nobody stops, using chemicals or chemical dependency simply because, oh, we just want to stop. We stop because we want to replace it with something better.
Right.
Meaningful relationships, community, service, improvement in my intellect, the ability to travel the world and not worry about where I'm going to get stuff or if I'm going to get in trouble. Like we want freedom. That's the one thing everybody that comes to Beond is seeking, is this health and optimization. Everyone wants it. It doesn't matter where you start, whether you're a Navy SEAL who can't get out of bed and you feel like a terrible dad and you don't want to live like that anymore. You're not high performance. You were high performance before you went to combat. And now you have this debilitating condition, post-traumatic stress, and you don't want to live like that anymore. Or whether you're, depressed, soccer mom, CEO, entrepreneur, whatever. We all want health and optimization, and as a result of that, we all want better performance or peak performance, or the feeling of being able to not be a guest in our own life.
That's a good point. Kind of talking. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about Ibogaine, and it's, so it's what is it, from an African shrub?
Yeah.
What could you tell
A root
us?
bark. It's a bark. Think about this: how unlikely it is that this would be, a tool for such profound. It's so important that the former governor of Texas is on a podcast talking about how it's desperately needed. I mean, this is remarkable. It's a root bark from a shrub in Central West Africa that, when it is properly utilized, either the actual botanical material, like you eat the bark, or in our case at Beond, where what we do is we use a hydrochloride. It's a purified, concentrated version of that, where the alkaloid ibogaine has been focused so that you can take a lot less of it. And you can be the doctors can be extremely accurate about the dosing. So whereas if you're eating root bark, which is a ceremonial practice which has been going on for a very long time and has helped probably many, many, many more people than we'll ever be able to, it's not about clinical accuracy. And unlike Beond, there's no clinical evaluation that happens. We believe that our function of health and optimization, of helping people heal, starts with really understanding what's going on in the first place. So everyone goes through the same process. No corners cut, no shortcuts. They all have, we're fully HIPAA compliant. They have to complete a health history questionnaire, and one of the doctors has to review it and interview that person about that content before they can even decide whether they're coming or not. It's not like you're filling out a form on the website. They're talking to a licensed, credentialed MD about their health history. And frankly, they're fine. There's no charge for that. If they don't want to, at that point, they feel like, oh, I don't want to come, or I want to wait. That's a great thing to happen. We don't want people to get here and feel uncomfortable. So the root bark itself is purified into the hydrochloride in a pharmaceutical laboratory. It's then tested for purity, which has, paperwork. So we can see exactly what's in it and exactly how much is in it. And so that the doctors feel comfortable saying, this, Bryan, is your dose. And, um, just like they would in a hospital in a major metropolitan city, they're not going to say, well, I think this is your dose. Let's see what happens. It's just an unacceptable level of, risk and or performance outcomes for us.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's not how any of us, at least myself, did psychedelics.
Right.
In the old days, it was like, here, take this, see what happens.
Yeah, I've gotten in trouble doing that a couple too many times.
But that's not what we're here to do today.
Right.
So.
I was gonna say I think Brian's gonna have to wrap it up a little bit. We can keep going. I just don't wanna stomp
Yeah.
on him or anything before we just have
Yeah,
a
I
good
gotta-
nice little place
Bryan,
here.
do you have any questions? Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, actually, before I have to jet out here and go back to work, I guess the big question that I have for you, because like as I'm listening to you talk about all these things, I'm like, man, I'm a veteran. I have PTSD. This sounds like something I maybe want to check out. So, what does it look like from somebody from conception all the way to being in the chair, ready to take the Ibogaine? What does that look like for somebody to start treatment?
So we've treated veterans, law enforcement, first responders since day one, and they would go to the website. They would book an appointment to talk to somebody. We feel like talking to someone is fundamental. So about 15 minutes, 30 minutes with someone who understands Ibogaine, understands Beond, and can really understand all our case history, all the people that have come, just to learn about why are you coming, just to make sure that like you're in the right place. There might be someplace better for you. I don't know, but we want to meet you. Then we our pre-admissions team sends an email, which has an encrypted link in it to the same software that you would be using at your primary care physician, where you log in, you complete your health history. Once you sign it and save it, it routes to one of the physicians. They review it, and then they send a Calendly link and book another consultation to review that, but with a doctor. Okay. That can happen in one day. It can happen in 3 days. It depends how responsive people are, frankly. But it usually takes a few days to get through that process, scheduling and so on. Once they do that, then we have to find a admission date when you're able to come and you're available and there's space at Beond. Right now, we're booking about 4 weeks in advance. But that's fine because they need to get their life ready and so on, tell their boss, find childcare, pet care, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a couple of weeks before you come. During those few weeks, we have coaches that have done Ibogaine, that have been to Beond, that work for Beond, that will help you remotely. They'll do Zoom calls or whatever, using the materials that we've developed. They'll go through the exercises so that you can start even before you leave your home to, think about your intentions, think about your vision of the future, talk about, you'll see all the tools we're going to use, and you can start to jump in right away, and they'll encourage that. They'll also help you refine that. Then you'll arrive on day one, right? You'll fly to Cancun. Our ground transportation team meets you inside a secure area at the airport. They walk you to our vehicles. They bring you directly to Beond. We have 3 buildings, all contiguous. They're all integrated. They're different vibes. Like one's more like a community feel. One is more like a resort feel. They all have pools. They all have, great environment, but you can use any of them almost like a small resort. So you'll arrive on day one. We'll start your admissions process. We do all our own laboratory work, all our own testing, all the EKGs, UDTs, to make sure that what you told us in your health history is reflected in the clinical evaluation that happens upon your arrival. Very loving, very respectful search of your belongings to make sure you didn't accidentally or intentionally bring something that is not appropriate to have at Beond. It might be appropriate to have at your home, but we don't want it here. So the nurses, they literally fold your laundry while they're searching your stuff, and while we're reviewing, sort of answering any questions. Then once that process finishes, you get your private accommodations. Everybody stays in their own room. Nobody shares rooms. We give you a tour. We introduce you to the other guests. We can only take 20 guests at a time. And right now, 20 to 25. We have a group program now for veterans that just started where they can come as a cohort. But so 20 private rooms plus what we call the villa, which is for groups. We introduce you to everybody, show you around. Then you're free to do whatever you want. Cold plunge, fitness, yoga, sound healing, art therapy, meditation. We're not going to tell you what you have to do. You do that for about 3 days, day 1, day 2, and day 3, where our coaches and our team are really trying to help you be ready for the Ibogaine experience to get the best result. We'll then do a EKG and UDT and more blood work before your Ibogaine treatment to make sure there's been no change between the day before your treatment and the day you arrived. And then when the morning of your treatment, they all start at the same time, 7:30 in the morning, you'll be lovingly woken up. We literally interview you on how you want to be woken up. Do you want to get a shower, jump in the pool, meditate, do some journaling, whatever you want to do, sleep late, that's cool too. But you have to be up in time to get an IV so that we can provide critical electrolytes and magnesium during your Ibogaine treatment. We do another EKG. This will be the 4th since you've arrived. We'll do another UDT to make sure nothing got in your system between last night and this morning. And then as normally happens, all that is exactly how we would expect. It was the same as the day before. Then we will, the team will do a energy cleansing and sort of a auric harmonization with a sound bowl and a little bit of a ritual out in the garden. And then just after that, we escort you into the treatment room. You'll have your own bed. You'll have a doctor and a nurse monitoring you the entire time that you're going through this process. And we say it this way: there is no need that you have that's too trivial. It's an honor and a privilege to support you while you're going through this process, whether it's something from the fridge, it's the custom playlist. We have the world's sexiest ICU.
I was going to say it's in Cancun, so it couldn't be a nicer place to do it, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it has the same equipment, the same technology, the same talent. It just looks like an ICU should look like. Beautiful murals, custom lighting, noise canceling technology, custom playlist, aromatherapy, and we want you to feel like this is a deeply profound and meaningful experience, which is going to reset your perspective on your entire painful past memories and discover and harness the power to heal yourself. We're not doing it. The medicine's not doing it. You're doing it. And you deserve to be treated like that, like honored, respected. This is a privilege for us. Mm-hmm. I was there this morning at 6:00 this morning, supporting 3 people that were starting their treatments this morning. And that's precisely what I told them is, without you, It's just Monday. With you, I get to live in alignment with my purpose. Thank you very much for letting us be a part of this. Now, we're here to make sure you're safe, make sure that you're comfortable, and take very good care of you. But make no mistake, you chose, you found the courage, you made the commitment, you're the creative one who is, is in the driver's seat here. We're here to support you. So, and then so that's day 4. Day 5, you have a day off. Day 6, you'll do additional Ibogaine, assuming your tolerance for it was appropriate and you get clinical qualification again. Day 7, you have off. Day 8, you may do additional Ibogaine or another supplementary psychedelic, such as 5-MeO-DMT. Then you're at day 9. Again, we're doing preparation and integration workshops every single day of this entire process. So from day 1, day 2, day 3, we do a workshop on preparation and integration using tools that we've developed. But you also have access to one-on-one support and coaching with someone who will go deeper, perhaps, or maybe you don't feel like talking about everything at the group level. Every single day, except for the one day while you're on the Ibogaine.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense. You're going to be deep into your mind with, with a lot going on that day. But we're there to support. And sometimes in the second half of the Ibogaine experience, our coaches can support you and facilitate a conversation, a guided introspection as well. And that goes all the way through day 9. You travel on day 10. Our ground transport team takes you back to the airport. And then you start your coaching via remote again. So remember, I told you that one of the coaches would support you before you come. That same coach or therapist is going to support you after you go home, for as long as you want.
Wow.
Most people do it about 4 sessions, 2 before and 2 after. Some people keep working with that coach for a long time.
Gotcha.
Does that answer your question, Bryan?
Yes, sir. That definitely does.
That sounds amazing. Like, I mean, if a great time for going to rehab. It's like, wow, that sounds great. Thank you.
We hope it works, right? So there's, make no mistake, 2.5 million people will go to rehab this year in the United States. 50% of the people who go, according to the statistics of the survey of providers, 50% won't even stay until it's over. They leave before it's over. And of the people that stay, if they're asked, hey, was this a satisfactory experience? How many do you think say yes?
Yeah, probably not a lot. I was going to say, I've been Bryan, and you got to get out of here real quick.
Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. You rock, man.
Bryan, great to meet you.
Tom, it was great to meet you as well, sir. Thank you so much for taking time to talk with us today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'd love to follow up if you're serious to really want to understand what it's like.
Oh, absolutely.
We'd love to have you come down.
I will be reaching out for sure.
I'd love it. Thank you so much. Tom@beond.us.
Got it. Okay.
Is my email, and the URL is beond.us.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, we can keep going. Just wanted to let
cool.
Bryan have his way out of here. I appreciate it, man.
See you guys.
Enjoy the rest of your day, Bryan. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. So that was our interview with Tom Feegel. He's the head, I guess, founder, Ibogaine Clinic
Right.
in Mexico, Beond. You can find them beyondibogaine.com. It was great. It was a great interview. A lot of interesting insights coming from him.
Absolutely. I think it's just super fascinating, and I mean, when you think about it, dude, I mean, people are coming out of here saying that they're free of opioid addiction, that they're free of alcoholism and things like that. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's some
and
pretty crazy stuff.
what better place to do it? And was it Cancun, Mexico?
Seriously. Like,
I
now,
mean,
obviously, it doesn't seem like it's very cheap, but
right.
like if you can make that happen, if you're in a position where you can, you should
That's
definitely go try it.
perfect place to do it. Yeah. Yeah. Follow them on TikTok, beyond.us. Follow them Instagram. Follow us too, all at Divergent States. Join us, hit us up on Patreon if you want to support the show. We're going to start getting some questions and interview, like, who do you guys want to hear interviewed? We're going to get our Patreon subscribers first, let them kind of pick if they've got like 300 speakers, psychedelic science 25 this year, guys. So, I mean, I've got Bryan, you're picking out some people. Look at him looking through the list.
Absolutely. There's some, definitely some really good candidates on there. Hopefully I don't know if we're going to have enough time to talk to all of them, but we're going to try.
We're at least trying to get them scheduled.
Right.
I mean, Amber Capone from Vets was going to be there. We were talking to her about doing an interview anyway. It'd be great to catch her there.
Well, just how surprising it is that there's so many politicians.
Dude,
and across the board too, like Democrats, Republicans.
Right. It's really just yeah, it's really cool. It's total bipartisan kind of event where people aren't looking at the politics. They're looking at the medicine and how it can help people.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be a huge event. Hope to meet everybody. See if any of you guys are out there. Maybe hit us up. Get us some shrooms. We'll take a dab with you or something. Know what I mean?
Yeah. We've got a free stalker sign up list.
Yeah, we'll hook it up.
Yeah,
you join the top tier up on Patreon. Yeah, you never know what might happen.
We'll stalk you.
Good times. Yeah, well, you guys follow us wherever you're listening at, Spotify, Apple. Give us a rating. Yeah, give us 5 stars or something. If we
only give us a 5-star.
Only.
It's the only thing that'll work. We've actually got it programmed so the only star you can pick is 5 stars.
That's the perfect system. We've got it rigged, you guys. So thank you guys for listening. You guys come back. We're gonna the music tonight was Dill Alien. Great. You guys check them out. Follow them on YouTube, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, wherever they're at. Thank you guys for the music. Subreddit, we'll be doing this. This is dropped the same day we're doing that AMA with Tom. So if you got any questions, I know the Patreon, they're going to have their questions already ready for it. So hit us up in the comments. Let us know. Come join us May 7th. We'll be doing the AMA with Tom.